Reading with your kids.
Hola, ni hao, konnichiwa, assalamu alaikum, jumbo, bienvenidos. Hi, my name is Jedley, and this is the Reading with Your Kids podcast and iTunes #1 kids and family podcast. Thank you so very much for being part of our beautiful Reading with Your Kids family. Our guest today is the author of Daydreaming Danny and the Pirate Treasure. His name is Joseph Reuter. Before Joseph joins us, we need to let you know that Puppy Pickup Day, The Little Labradoodle book #1 by April M. Cox, is our latest Reading with Your Kids certified great read. We are so excited. We're so excited to be able to add Puppy Pickup Day to our great Reading with Your Kids certified great read Hall of Fame. We think you and your family will love Puppy Pickup Day. It's a great book. The illustrations are absolutely gorgeous. And April M. Cox has written a wonderful, heartwarming story about a tiny puppy with a huge heart as he overcomes his insecurities, builds self-esteem, and discovers the power of kindness, friendship, and love. It really is a beautifully illustrated, very well-written, heartfelt animal tale we know that you'll love. Big congratulations to April M. Cox, our latest Reading with Your Kids certified great read. Joining us once again from Denver in Colorado, he is one of our favorite guests. He's back again today to talk about his brand new book, Daydreaming Danny and the Pirate Treasure. Please welcome back to the show, Joseph Reuter. Joseph, how are you?
I am doing great. Thanks for having me, Jed.
I'm excited to have you back. Folks really enjoy Daydreaming Danny.
Good. He has a special place in my heart.
Yeah. So, tell us, before you tell us specifics about the new book, tell us a little bit about the inspiration for Daydreaming Danny. Is it a little bit autobiographical by any chance?
Yeah, there is a little bit of that. So, kind of watching my kids, use their imagination and grow up, it kind of takes me back to my childhood and the adventures that my brother and I would get into, using our imaginations and summer days and whenever possible. So we, definitely shared some similarities and adventures that, Danny has done.
Yeah. I have beautiful, fond memories of daydreaming. Unfortunately, most of them were daydreaming in school. So while I was having a blast daydreaming, I wasn't learning the subject matter. But I do remember loving to kind of take myself out of where I was and just do that daydream, kind of create, a world within my own head.
Yep, and you have total agency, and yeah, you could do anything you want. That's the best part is there's no boundaries.
Yeah. So tell us about the new book and what kind of adventures Danny gets into with the Pirate Treasure.
Well, in the new book, Danny is as the title insinuates, is hunting for a buried pirate treasure. He races a boat down the gutter, a flooded gutter, and kind of uses that to kick off his adventure. And he has a new adventure pal. He has a new dog, so he kind of shares his adventure and kind of brings the dog along on his imagination voyage. And it kind of takes place just around the street and neighborhood that he lives on.
Awesome.
That definitely did happen to us when I was growing up. So we kind of shared that.
It's amazing what kids can do with their imaginations. They can take basically a puddle that's just kind of running along the side of the sidewalk, and they can turn that into an ocean.
Yeah. And this summer, I was actually fortunate enough to kind of share that experience with my kids. It was raining, and I said, "Go out and play." And they kind of looked at me like, "Really?" And I went out there and we went to the gutter and we raced leaves down the gutter, and then they kind of looked at me and it kind of clicked. This is just like the book. And I said, yeah, this is what my brother and I did, went during rainstorms in the summer. It was fun.
It's interesting. Do you think that kids, because of all the technology that we have, and because kids don't get thrown out of the house first thing in the morning and told not to come back until the street lights come on, and they're kind of overprotective and they're kind of overscheduled, and there's always an adult kind of organizing things for them, it seems. Do you think that the kids these days are missing out on some of those opportunities to daydream and just create their own worlds?
I definitely think that there is some missed opportunities for that, and I think I love technology and screens, and I'm kind of a tech geek, but my wife and I were kind of trying to make a concentrated effort for our kids to really limit that. I mean, I think that they should be educated about it and know how to use that, and that's great, but we definitely try to limit that in order to try to foster that creativity and that imagination. When I took them out for that rainstorm, it hadn't occurred to them, and then that kept them busy the rest of the afternoon. They didn't want to come in, and they loved it. So
yeah, I mean, these days, thinking you don't see kids outside playing by themselves, period. You go by playgrounds and they're empty. But I loved going out and when it was raining, it was a perfect day to play tackle football.
Yep.
You didn't want to play it unless it was raining and you were going to come home caked and covered in mud.
Maybe a little bit of a headache, laundry-wise, but otherwise perfectly fantastic afternoon, right?
Yeah, and I think one of the things we forget as parents, we do definitely want our kids to be, tech savvy, and we don't want them to fall behind. But the creative part, I think creativity is kind of like a muscle. You need to exercise it. You need to use it to make it as strong and as it can be, and you don't want to lose it. And I think that we forget that while all these machines that we're using, the cell phones and the computers and the video games, someone had to create those things. Someone had to use their imagination to say, "What if?"
Absolutely, yeah. That's the genesis of those items. I mean, that's from flexing those creative muscles and using your imagination and kind of thinking what could be that doesn't exist now. Absolutely, yeah, that's totally correct.
So other than allowing your kids to go outside and play in puddles, which every irresponsible dad does, what are the kind of things are you doing to help encourage creativity in your kids?
Well, my kids are very active. They are active in sports. They are active in dance. We take them to the skate parks. We when I'm writing, occasionally I can get them to slow down for a minute and sit down and just write a little short story or a poem or something with me. And when I'm doing the artwork for the books, they really tend to gravitate towards that. So they will pull out their pads and kind of draw along with me or paint. So they do enjoy that a lot, and I like to foster that and kind of see what they create. And it's always it's nice to encourage them, because I hear from a lot of people, I can't draw a stick figure or something like that, which everybody can draw. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think a frustration, or where people kind of come to that realization, is they may not be able to draw what they want right now or how they want right now, but I mean, it's kind of a muscle to flex as well. Yeah. So it's just practice.
I have this beautiful new person in my life. She's our foster niece, and I taught her this. She never put on skates until this past December. And she put on skates to play hockey, and she fell in love with it. And now, so that's her goal now, is to play hockey in high school and in college. And when I would, because no one else would go skating with her, I put the skates back on for the first time in 37 years, and I haven't killed myself yet, thankfully. But, she's going out and she's trying things, and one of the things I taught her when she would say, I can't do that, and I would correct her, I say, you can't do it yet.
That is perfect. Yep.
Yeah, and that's such an important kind of lesson to teach our kids, not only whether they're skating or drawing or anything that they're trying. You can let them say, I can't do it, as long as they add that yet there.
I completely agree. And around our house, there's been a theme lately of failure. Be it a math assignment or a drawing. And it's like, you know what? It's okay to fail. Mm-hmm. You're not going to succeed at everything in, your first try, and you're going to fail a lot. And that's how you learn. That's one of the best teachers. And you're absolutely correct. I can't do it yet.
Yeah. Now, what, as an author illustrator, is there a process that you go to, or do you prefer one over the other? Do you think of yourself as an illustrator who writes or an author who illustrates, or does it change depending on the project?
So far it's kind of been the writer who illustrates. And I had a little bit of an art background, when I was a little younger, and, the writing part kind of was the genesis of having kids and wanting to share stuff with them and then eventually share it with others. And then it's like, okay, well, how do I want this to look? And I kind of was looking at it, and there's so many wonderful artists out there and illustrators. But for me, like with my schedule, it really kind of made sense to just kind of take that on myself. Instead of kind of having back and forth, do you like this look? How about this? And, I just really had agency over it. Uh-huh. At the time. And then also, you're also either sharing, book profits or, you're paying out of pocket ahead of time. It depends on what deal you come to. So, like I said, if I had the ability and I was able to kind of get back into it and flex my creative muscles, and, it's actually been wonderful. It's great to kind of be back doing that.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I love that you chose the pirate treasure. I remember my son, and it actually at one point it just drove my head almost exploded because he was just obsessed with pirates. There were a couple of things that so many kids just kind of gravitate to. Dinosaurs, trains, and pirates is one of those things. What do you think it is about pirates that is so attractive to kids?
I think they're just cool. They get the treasure, they have ships and, swords and kind of maybe no rules. Maybe that's kind of like the kids' ideal, escape. We kind of have a lot of rules or restrictions on you can't do this, you can't do that. Well, when you're a pirate, you can.
Yeah. Absolutely. What book, as you think back, I wonder, did you ever envision yourself as a kid's author as you were growing up? And even if you did or you didn't, is there a children's author that you remember that really inspired you when you were younger?
Well, I have a couple high school newspaper quotes about wanting to be an author in general. It wasn't necessarily a kid's author, but so it's kind of been nice to kind of fulfill that. And as far as inspirational, I mean, I really like Shel Silverstein, the Sidewalk Inns and Light in the Attic. I love those books, and I just like how just off the walls they are, and I kind of like it's just a bunch of separate kind of poems or verses that you read 2 or 3, or you can read the whole book if you wanted, but you can 2 or 3, and that's a good night kind of bedtime story for the kids. Yeah. And I really enjoyed those when I was younger.
Awesome stuff. Do you have a vision for Daydreaming Danny? Do you see him in a whole series of books?
I do. I have drafts of kind of the next 2 that I'm hoping to put out next. And I say hoping, it's depending on where inspiration strikes. Sometimes you rearrange the schedule accordingly if something really jumps out at you, and you're kind of on fire with it. You roll with that and get that done. But I kind of have a little bit of a roadmap for Danny, and definitely some series aspirations. So there's more Danny on the way for sure.
Awesome. Now, one of the things you said in high school, there are these quotes that you wanted to be an author and not necessarily a children's author. Do you have any aspirations to write in other genres?
Yeah, actually, I kind of have a couple of young adult books that I'm kind of working on with a little bit of a kind of a sci-fi angle to them. So, and I'm kind of trying to get the process down first for the kids books, young adult, and then move into the young adults. And then, I don't know, maybe move into full-on novels. I'm not sure what that's going to look like, but I want to see how the young adult books turn out first.
Yeah, well, that's the whole sci-fi thing. It's fascinating to me, and I'm a big fan of sci-fi, but it would be really intimidating for me to kind of try to write that, because you have to create a whole universe.
Yeah, that's correct. It's a little bit daunting because you're creating such a large kind of almost living, breathing thing, which is the challenge. But the good thing is that being kind of sci-fi, and I mean, sky's the limit. There's no restrictions. Kind of like using your imagination. You can kind of make anything happen within your story and universe, which is nice.
Now, what kind of reactions have you received when you're out and about and folks are reading Daydreaming Danny? What kind of reaction are you getting from folks after they read the book?
The kids really, they love, in this newest one, they love the dog. He's kind of a little bit of a slapsticky sidekick in this book. And in the first one, they really like the dragon, and they kind of angle that he took a chore that he was given and kind of turned it into a game or turned it into fun. So the kids kind of really like it from that angle. The adults that I've talked to and parents, they really like that, in this particular one, kind of the racing the boat down the gutter. I mean, they remember doing that as well. It's kind of a little touch of nostalgia for them as well.
Yeah. As you were just talking about that, I have these memories of being a kid, and when the snow starts to melt, and it's the snowbanks on the sidewalk, they're ugly, and they're only they're not 5 feet high, they're maybe 6 or 7 inches high, and I remember walking on them like I was Godzilla, crushing the mountains.
Yeah, anytime, anywhere. That's the best part of the imagination.
Awesome stuff.
And you remember it to this day. That's the great part.
Yeah. There's a lot of things I remember, and probably shouldn't bring up some of them. It might be disturbing to some.
We'll let today's kids get in their own trouble, I guess, with their imaginations.
Well, yeah, and and today's kids, they just have so much access to all this information, and technology, and all these machines that kind of allow them to experience other people's imaginations in really vivid ways. But I love the fact that you're creating a book that's encouraging kids to flex their own creative muscles and really get into their imaginations.
Yeah, and it's been really touching to kind of hear some of the reactions and stories. I had a good friend of mine. He told me the other day that he just kind of came upon he knew the kid his son was in the backyard, but he kind of came upon him, and overheard him, and he was fighting the trash can that was a dragon, like the first Daydream Dandy. So it's kind of cool when it kind of gets embedded and the kids really kind of take to it. So that's definitely so rewarding.
Yeah. Now, where can folks connect with you online if they want to be up to date and be the first to grab the new books?
Well, they are on Amazon, and you can search for Joseph Ruder. That's Ruder on Amazon, and that'll pull me up to my author page, and there's links to all of my books on there. And I'm also on Facebook. My author page is Joseph W. Ruder. And I am also on Twitter that I can be reached. And that one handle is Rude Mojo, RUDEMOJO.
Excellent, excellent. Well, we encourage you to encourage your kids to flex their creative muscle. Let them get outside and play in the rain and jump around in puddles and all that kind of stuff. And absolutely check out Daydreaming Danny and the Pirate Treasure. Our guest today has been Joseph Ruder. Joseph, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me again, Jed. It's been a pleasure.
Please be sure to join us for the next edition of the Reading with Your Kids podcast. We have a wonderful guest. His name is Norman Aladjam. He is the author of From Me to You. You are going to love this interview. I had a fantastic time speaking with Norman. Hey, if you are the author of a great children's book, we would love to have you on the program. Being a guest on the show is fun, it's easy, and it is absolutely free. All you need to do is to go to our website, readingwithyourkids.com, click on the contact button, let us know all about your great book. We will let you know the next steps, and they're really, really easy. Being a guest on the Reading with Your Kids podcast, it allows you, it gives you a form, gives you a way to tell thousands and thousands of people about your fantastic children's book, and it doesn't cost you a thing. It is a wonderful opportunity for every single author out there. Go to our website, readingwithyourkids.com, click on that contact button, let us know about your fantastic book. Hey, speaking of the website, readingwithyourkids.com, we would love to have everybody out there listening subscribe to our brand new newsletter. It is going to be coming out in the coming weeks. We're going to be filling that newsletter with all sorts of great information about our guests, about upcoming shows, about shows you might have missed, and it's also going to include lots of fun activities that you can do with your kids. Absolutely free. Readingwithyourkids.com. There's a subscribe button right on the side of the page when you go there. Check it out. Readingwithyourkids.com. Subscribe to our wonderful newsletter. Hey, we want to thank Joseph Ruder for being back today. And, of course, we want to thank you. Thank you so much for being part of our beautiful Reading with Your Kids family. And, of course, thank you so much for taking the time to make the world a better place by reading with your kids. I'll be looking for the next edition of the Reading with Your Kids podcast.